Hello and welcome to the FATBOSS Guide to Elegon, 10-man normal in the Mogu'shan vaults.
Hello.
Yes. Oh, it's the
Elegon.
dragon of celestialness. It's lovely.
He's changed so much though since the beta.
Oh, is he still good?
He's still a fucking fantastic fight.
Oh,
it's easily the best one in here. Like, I love this fight, but it's a fucking demanding fight. It's easily the most difficult one in here.
Okay, well that's good. Difficult fights are good.
Yeah,
fights.
but the thing that makes it most difficult is the enrage timer.
Okay.
Very, very well. It's not a short enrage timer. I mean, it's a long fight, but it's still it's a demanding raid. Yeah.
So for this fight, you want to bring 2 tanks, 2 healers, and 6 DPS, ranged being a hell of a lot better.
I mean, arguably you can do this with 3 healers. It has been done with 3 healers, but your DPS needs to be pretty fucking insane, like really, really insane. So to start off the fight, we're going to talk about the energy vortex, and this is like the big sort of barrier, I suppose you could call it, around the platform that's in the middle of the room, where Elegon actually is. And when you're inside here, you get turned into sort of like this celestial form.
Yeah, they look quite cool. Lovely, really.
And it increases the damage and healing you do by 50%. Also, while you are standing in here, you are taking a stacking debuff that increases the damage you take from everything by 5%. And it stacks. To drop this stack, you need to just leave.
Yeah.
Literally just leave the energy vortex and it will drop. And really, you want to drop your stacks around 7 to 10 stacks. Mm-hmm. However, you can go much higher, but I don't really recommend it.
Now, to start off, we're going to talk about phase 1, and there's a couple abilities that you need to be careful in this phase. First off is Celestial Breath. Now, this is a large breath, like a dragon always does in World of Warcraft. Yeah. Guess what you have to do, tanks?
Face
it away. Yeah.
Simple as that.
Not that hard, to make sure you're not in front of the boss. Easy as, unless you're the tank. Also, what he does is that he spawns an ad called a Celestial Protector.
And now this ad will do a few abilities. The main ability he'll do is that he'll apply a dot on players, and when the dot is applied, it'll do about 100k damage, but obviously that scales with the amount of stacks you have, so make sure that your stacks aren't too high. And the dot will just reduce the amount of healing that target takes by 50%. So just dispel it. Simple as that.
Simple as that. As soon as it hits there, dispel it. But of course, call it because of the fucking long cooldowns on dispel. You don't want both your healers dispelling the same target, because then it hits 2 targets, so be careful of that.
Once the ad hits around 25% health, it will start pulsing a huge amount of arcane damage. So you need to make sure that you kill it as quick as possible. And then once the ad reaches death, it'll explode for 200k damage, just flat 200k damage. That doesn't include any stacks you have. So it's important that when it does explode, that everyone is on full health and that everyone's stacks aren't retardedly high.
Yeah.
Now, the way that we deal with this ad is that as soon as it spawns, we nuke the living shit out of it, and our off-tank picks it up. When the off-tank picks it up, it's important that he uses this time to go drop his own personal stack, so he can take the mob outside, and then, simple as that. However, while the mob is outside, it will take less damage. It'll take a lot less damage. So you need to make sure that when the tank goes to drop his stack, that he moves back in as quick as he possibly can.
Yeah.
At this point, that's when we do a tank swap. So the main tank who's been tanking Elegon can go drop his stack, which would be on the next ad that spawns. That's all you do. So you rotate on each ad spawn. The tanks, all they need to do is rotate. You might be thinking, well, why can't you just one tank it? Well, Elegon doesn't move. And not only that, if there's no one in melee range of Elegon, he'll like death grip everyone to him.
Kind of like Syndragoza.
Yeah, and it does a lot of damage. So
that's not good.
You need to make sure that you're not standing near Elegon.
Now, once you got all through that and Elegon reaches 85% health, phase 2 will start.
And because it is on a health basis, you need to make sure that you've like killed a Celestial Protector beforehand, because you can get a Celestial Protector spawn at 85%, which means you've now got to deal with the next phase with a Protector up. So you need to keep an eye on your timers and make sure that you transition it at the right time. Now, in this phase, Elegon will not do any damage to the raid. He'll just stand there and spam something called Draw Power. Every time he finishes the cast of this, it will spawn 6 orbs in set locations that will attempt to leave the energy vortex. They don't do any damage to you, they'll just attempt to leave the energy vortex. Every wave of orbs that you manage to kill, that increases the damage that Elegon takes by 10%, and that stacks, and that will last for the rest of the encounter. And this is this is the most important part of the fight, because it's the way that you beat the enrage timer. Because every time you kill a wave, you get a 10% damage increase. Simple as that. However, every single wave of orbs that you kill, the next wave that spawns on the next draw power cast is 20% quicker, which means eventually they'll move so fast that you can't kill them anymore. One thing to note, that every time an orb dies, it deals quite a large amount of damage to every single player in the raid. So the way that we deal with this is that we have 6 orbs and we have 6 DPS. So we just set the DPS, 1 each, and you kill the orb. But every time you kill an orb, you need to make sure that you leave the energy vortex just to drop your stacks, and then you move back in again.
Yeah, before the draw power cast is over.
It's also important during this phase that you do continue to nuke Elegon. You try and put as much damage on Elegon, but obviously the orbs take priority. We kill 4 or 5 waves of orbs and just make sure that you move off the platform when the third phase arrives. And the third phase starts as soon as one of the orbs reaches the side of the room.
Yeah, and the platform disappears, so yeah, do be off of it. Now what happens in phase 3 is that the pylons activate where the orbs were going to from phase 2, and they become attackable. And the goal is in this phase is you've got to try and kill all of these pylons.
Now between the active pylons and the outer wall of the room, an energy field, like a wall of energy, is created, and this will do like a lot of damage if you try and pass through it. And the wall will only go away once all the pylons have been destroyed. However, a pylon won't be destroyed unless the pylon on the opposite side of the room is also destroyed, because the pylons are now linked. On the beta they weren't linked, you just killed a pylon and then it despawned, simple as that. However, pylons are now linked. So one on the left hand side of the room is now linked to the one on the right hand side of the room. Once both of them are killed, then they'll both despawn. So the way that you deal with this phase is that you have 1 tank, 1 healer and 3 DPS on one side, and 1 tank, 1 healer and 3 DPS on the other side.
Yes.
And then you need to make sure that you kill the pylons as quick as possible. Sounds very, very easy, however it's not, because adds will also spawn in this phase. Now when the adds are spawning, there'll be a little circle on the ground, and if you get hit by that circle when the ad spawns, you take a huge amount of damage. You need to make sure you don't stand in them, and the ads just need to be picked up by the tank. You pretty much want to just completely ignore these ads, because your focus is just getting this phase over as soon as possible, because the ads start to spawn quicker and quicker and quicker. So you want to kill all the pylons, and then the first phase will start again. Before the first phase starts, though, you want to make sure that you try and kill all the ads. And if the phase has started and you do have ads up, just finish the ads off. They're not a major problem. Just don't be stupid with them.
Now this phase 1, this next phase 1, basically this phase is exactly the same as it was in phase 1, except this one will end at 50% when the boss hits 50% health. And then you get phase 2 again, which is all to do with killing the waves of orbs and all that stuff. Then phase 3 starts, where you got to go around in those 2 teams and do the pylons and the ads and that, and then the very last phase 1 will start.
And yeah, this phase is like the very, very last phase. You won't have any more phase 2s and you won't have any more phase 3s. And at this point, you should have at least 8 stacks on the boss. Ideally, I mean, if you can get 10 or more, then it will be a lot easier for you.
Yeah.
Now in this phase, you will no longer get Celestial Protectors. However, there will be constant AoE damage on the raid. And if you see on the outside of the room, outside the energy vortex, there's now like lots of lightning. If you leave the energy vortex, you'll take damage. So when you do leave to drop your stack, you need to make sure that you do it very, very quickly. Now, at this point, your healers will probably have very low mana, and they'll probably be struggling anyway, especially if you're using 2 healers. So you want to do your very, very best in this phase just to try and help them out. Use personal cooldowns, use whatever you can do to survive, because it does become tight.
You also want to use Bloodlust.
And obviously you want to use Bloodlust. And the idea is that you nuke the living shit out of the boss before he nukes the living shit out of you. Simple as that.
And then if you do manage to kill him, hooray! Dragon dead, many loots, happy times. But it's a very, very good fight still.
It's easily the best fight.
I think they've made it probably better from the beta, with they've made it harder. On the beta it was very easy. It was very good. Now it's actually very, very hard and very good. So
very challenging.
Excellent fight. So thank you for watching, guys. If this guide did help you out, then please do give us a thumbs up. It really does help us out a lot. And make sure to comment, rate and subscribe.
And if you'd like to see more 10-man raid guides by FATBOSS, please do click up on the annotations on your screen now, and it will take you straight to the video.
Wonderful.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.